Hey everyone, this is the very last section, meal planning. This section, this is not academic. This is purely life skills. It's for you. So sit back, listen, take notes, or just meditate on what I'm about to say. Okay, first of all, when you're planning foods, what your dietary choices are, there are a variety of things to take into consideration. And once you become clear as to what's important to you, then naturally just the dietary choices you have will guide you when you're shopping or creating your list or choosing recipes that attract you. First of all, your dietary choices should reflect, honestly, what your goals are, what your intentions are regarding your weight. Are you looking to gain weight, to lose weight, or to maintain the weight you're at? Because obviously, to gain weight, you're going to want to start focusing on more nutrient and energy dense foods, eating a lot of nuts, making smoothies, liquid foods so that you can increase your intake as much as possible. Whereas wanting to lose weight, you want to focus on more whole foods, really being present to very lean cuts, low fat, preparation of your foods, and focusing very strictly on that 50% produce, especially vegetables. For those who want to maintain their weight, it's really just about being present to portion control and variety of nutrition. In terms of disease, if you did the family tree, then you're taking into consideration, do you yourself or any family members have any diseases that you want to manage for yourself or them, or to prevent from developing or progressing? For family, I can't emphasize enough whether your family is your biologic, your communal, your work, whatever that looks like. Eating together really fosters more powerful health. It makes it easier, of course, when we can cook larger portions, which means we really want to be supportive of not only ourselves but others. It's also important to take into consideration is that if you're starting a family or you have your own family, that you are raising, then what is your priority for yourself and them? Is it quality and quantity? Do you want to see them grow up, the children, to be healthy, to be strong? Do you want to have a high quality of life so that you're able to age and be able to watch them grow up? These are things that you have to take into consideration because randomly eating foods will not provide this for you. If you're at a stage in your life or sometime in the future where you're eating alone, and I will say, hey, been there, done that, it is important to create a schedule, to stay structured, to focus on your well-being, because it is all too easy to fall into the habit of just eating a bowl of cereal at night. And that's not going to consistently give you the nutrition you need. Once in a while, okay, but repeatedly, no. So think about it that every time you sit down to a meal that you created that's balanced, you are nourishing yourself, you are loving yourself, and you are ensuring that you are in peak condition physically, mentally, and in terms of immune system. When planning meals, think, in advance what you're going to be doing, because if you're making a large batch of something that could be frozen or put into containers to take to work or school or wherever you're going, that saves time and money later. When you plan on doing this, it's one thing to go to the grocery store and say, oh yeah, I'm going to make this dish, I'm going to make that dish, but you've got to take into consideration, when are you going to prepare the food? When are you going to create that meal? So scheduling even the time for the food prep is vital. Please don't lose sight of building snacks for yourself. They can be something as simple as just throwing together some veggies with hummus. Buy a big container of hummus. You could divvy it out into smaller containers. Chop up your veggies every few days. Or keep it simple, like things like string cheese and fruit. Whether it's your current job or jobs in the future, you always want to investigate what your support system is there in terms of food. Do they have resources for you to heat up your foods like microwave, or do you have to plan on taking hot food in a thermos? Is there a refrigerator on site that you're allowed to use? Is it clean? Or do you need to have a cooler in the back of your car where you can store your foods? Also, if you are going to be mobile and have to move around a lot, then maybe taking also, in addition, a cold bag so that you can carry around things that have to be refrigerated. When you do pack, try to keep the meals relatively simple. Don't go too full-on gourmet because that does take time and energy, and it sounds wonderful and it's fancy, but after a while it becomes a little monotonous in the amount of time it can take. Please make sure you schedule time into your day to take breaks. Unfortunately, management and coworkers don't apply themselves into the care of fellow employees. It is your responsibility to advocate for yourself and say, hey, it's time for me to eat. I need to care for me. My energy is getting low. I'm not feeling well. Whatever the story is that you need to use, you need to assert yourself. When you are at work, be careful of things like the vending machines, the candy bowls. Oh my gosh, so easy to just walk by and grab stuff. Be cautious of the free food at work. You know, pizza every Friday or every Thursday night, bagels every morning. It's awesome these are free, but folks, you got to remember, you're not a human garbage disposal, and you do not want to just be eating food to eat it because this will pack on weight. In terms of stress, your nutrition is the foundation for your health and well-being, which means you are more successful at managing stress, whether it be life stress, work stress, if you have the nutrients for your hormones to balance out, rather than not having the nutrients, becoming very stressed, and then turning to emotional eating. When you feel stress, have tools in your bag, things to do to manage that stress constructively so that you're not turning to either anesthetizing options, drugs, alcohol, or emotional eating. So taking walking breaks, brilliant walking meetings, fantastic. Studying while walking, amazing. Not only does this activate the brain, increase oxygen flow, but it also helps distribute nutrients throughout the body, promote peristalsis of the intestines. Oh my gosh, burns calories. Can you not win there? You can win at everything. So what you can't do is lose. Hey, another cool thing, helps the sugar burn in your bloodstream, decreases the likelihood of diabetes. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, activity level. Just keep in mind that when you're exercising aggressively, to really think about having a carbohydrate snack before to fuel the body and making sure that you have balanced nutrition after. That if it is a super intense workout, to have chocolate milk on hand or a glass of milk or a regular, any type of yogurt actually, so that you have the opportunity to repair muscle, replace lost glycogen, and help the muscles relax with the minerals. Now, where do you begin if you're already not in that comfort zone of shopping, cooking, meal prepping, whatever that looks like for you? Well, I want you to think of everything in life as always being a problem worthy of solving, which is solution building. The more problems you solve, the more solutions you develop in life, the easier things become. It's like flexing a muscle, folks. So first of all, less money. You know what? I know that way too well. And the reality is you've got to be resourceful. We'll talk about that. You don't know how to cook? Well, then you're going to build experience. My gosh, this is the day of the internet. Everything is out there. Equipment. Well, we don't want to start out as top chefs straight out of the gate because we've got to grow with our equipment. But there are some few basic items that I recommend every kitchen have. And then lastly, time management. Figuring out how to manipulate situations so that you are successful without encroaching too much on your schedule. So first of all, regarding money, being resourceful, rule number one, folks, set a budget. You have a budget for rent. You have a budget for going out. Make a budget for food. How much money do you have? Are you willing to set aside to nourish your body? Reality is that really should be number 2 on the list after shelter, meaning your rent. When you have that budget, then you can identify where your money can go. Do you have extra money to pay for more expensive protein like fish? Or do you have less money where you need to focus more on things like dried beans that you soak overnight and tofu? Take into consideration that dairy products can be very high. So you have to keep an eye on things like sales, so that you can maybe manipulate your budget a little bit. And then keep in mind that you're all 55 to 60% water, and water is free. There is nothing harmful about our tap water here in Southern California. So it is a great resource for you. In addition, you can always have a thermos on you or a flask for hot water, and you can randomly collect tea bags when you go places or purchase tea by the box. It's really inexpensive, but it gives you a variety of different flavors. Otherwise, if you are in dire straits, folks, there are great programs set up to support people in America, and I'm really appreciative of this. Number 1, utilizing community food programs, at places like churches, food banks, school, and then, of course, there are national food programs like SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Access Program, and WIC, Women, Infants, and Children. No harm, no foul. The most important thing in life is to nourish yourself. Everything else will fall into place after that. When we are trying to manage our money and budget it is wise to take advantage of bulk buying, because whenever you purchase more product, that means less packaging. So you're really going to get a better rate for your product. Utilizing places like Costco and Sam's Club is really awesome. If you don't have a membership, find someone and go with them as the guest. Just keep in mind that if you go as a guest, you need to pay with cash or reimburse the person because you will not be able to use your credit card if you don't have a membership there. And you know what? No harm, no foul. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, no. You know what? Costco, Sam's, those items are way too big for me. No, they're not. You get them and you divide them up with someone else or several other people. And then that dividing it up brings the cost way down. Conventional stores do have kind of their version of large bulk packaging. So it's good to take advantage of their version. Sometimes they'll have bins like Sprouts does where you can get things for less money because now you're paying for the packaging, not them, in theory. But there's other things you can do, which is taking advantage of the circulars. When they put foods on promotion, it might be because of the distributor they're getting the foods from have a promotion, or it might be that they're seasonal. And whenever things are in season, their turnover is much faster and higher, which means the prices are way down. My gosh, I was at the market today and zucchini was 25 cents a pound. Literally, I think I got 10 zucchini for $1. And that means a variety of possibilities. I can use that zucchini. I can slice it with a potato peeler, add a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice, a little bit of pepper and some shaved Parmesan, and I've got a great cold salad. I can shred it and put it into my pasta sauce to increase my vegetable intake and to make my pasta sauce go further. I can add it to casseroles. I can add it on top of salad shredded. I can use it to make zucchini bread. Yum. There's a lot of different possibilities that you can utilize food. You can make it and freeze it. Oh my gosh, where do we begin? Other places to take into consideration are like other things to take into consideration are generic or the store brands. Those typically are the same product as, for example, that you'd get from Del Monte. They don't pay for all the marketing. They don't pay for the famous name brand. But you can save a heck of a lot of money that way. Discount stores like the 99-cent store can have good deals, but you got to know your prices, folks, because sometimes the prices are actually more expensive than the grocery stores, conventional grocery stores. Farmer markets are awesome. I will tell you, different neighborhoods have different price points, which is kind of odd, but they're charging up for wealthier neighborhoods. Um, if you purchase your produce first thing in the morning, you get the pick of the best produce. But if you wait until the end of the day when they're starting to fold up, you won't necessarily have the choices that you want, but oftentimes they will strike a deal with you. You just have to approach them. Let's say the plums are normally $3 a pound, and they have some left. Just say, you know what? I'm a starving college kid. Can I take those for you for $1 a pound? Maybe they'll agree, maybe they'll negotiate with you, but it's worth a shot. The other one too is keep an eye out for a lot of times they'll do things like people will buy beets and they'll snap off the stems with all the leaves and put them in this big box for the farmer to have to take back to the farm. Wow. Oftentimes they don't want to transport those in the truck because that costs them money. So if you go up and say, hey, can I have your greens? Then you can saute anything and everything. All right. I think your only exception really is probably going to be rhubarb leaves. We don't eat. So you can even get greens that way and just learn how to season them differently to make them pleasurable. I love beet greens, and it just kills me when I watch people throw them away. Have a plan, folks. Don't randomly purchase things, because if you randomly purchase them, they're going to go into the refrigerator and then they're just going to get lost, waiting and wondering when they get their turn, which comes never except for the garbage can. Go to the grocery store with a list. You've got your meal plan in mind. You have your list. Go in and get out. Because if not, it can go from a $30 bill up to a couple $100 bill really easily. And then, of course, number 6, the golden rule. Never shop hungry. Oh my gosh, way too dangerous. Okay, we're going to watch a quick video just as a little recap for the adventures or misadventures of grocery stores.
The big things that are sold today in the supermarket are convenience, novelty, and health. Cereal is the original convenience food. We don't think of it as a convenience food necessarily, but of course it replaced hot cereal, which was so much work. And of course, cereals are a great place to find health claims in the supermarket. These are chocolate Cheerios, which you might think are candy, except they reduce the risk of heart disease, so it's okay. Let's see what else we have here. Well, this is one of my favorite original convenience food, Easy Cheese. This is spray cheddar and bacon made with real cheese. Now, think about any product that has to tell you it's real. It's almost an admission that it isn't real. So the other big thing, though, besides convenience, is novelty. And the most novelty I found in the supermarket today was in the drink aisle. There are amazing things going on. There's a whole new category of product called water enhancers. This is a water enhancer. It's berry pomegranate. It's got superfoods in it. It's a liquid water enhancer, and it's enhanced with 8 vitamins. And it's true, water does lack vitamins. It's okay. Then there's this wonderful new line of neuro drinks. It suggests something really brainy. I don't know why they're called neuro drinks, except they do go in through your head. This one is Bliss, and it reduces stress. 35 calories. Now, all these flavor enhancers, we overlook the fact that almost all of them contain sugar. They're delivery systems. The enhancement of water, by and large, is an idea of health and an actuality of sugar. And this is another neuro that puts you to sleep. So this one keeps you relaxed during the day, and this one knocks you out. These are drinks in the supermarket. What's going on? You think about people trying to make good choices and finding themselves not losing weight, not improving their health, and you wonder why. Well, look at yogurt. Yogurt is a healthy choice, we're told. We give it to our kids in huge amounts. This is Yoplait. This is one of the first of the very successful yogurt brands. And this is Yo Crunch, and this one comes with M&Ms. Talk about a confused message. And then there's Go-Gurt, right? You put it in a little tube and you squirt it into your mouth. It's very convenient. You don't even need a spoon. You don't even need to be conscious. But here's the thing. Yoplait, Coca-Cola. Obviously, this is the better choice, right? But if you look at how much sugar is in this, there is exactly the same amount of sugar in these two things. This is the latest sugar delivery system. And so we feel good about not giving our kids soda, but we give them this instead. So that's what I mean when I say it's really gotten treacherous out there.
Okay, so there are also a variety of apps to support you. By the way, I think Michael Pollan is hilarious because he made some really good points on that. All right, so apps that are really awesome. First of all, I love Flip because Flip, you can pull up a variety of different stores and you can check their circulars on your phone just to see what's on sale. Meal Lime is a pretty impressive app because what it does is it helps you not only learn to cook and make wise choices, but also put together the whole meal in terms of the grocery shopping list, what you're going to cook and how. Budget Bites has really simple and inexpensive recipes. The Healthy Food Guide, great advice with videos, strongly recommend that. Millennial Menu is a food blog, so kind of a different angle for you. Favado has different coupons, maybe some great, maybe not so. Supercook is really cool because the goal there is you put in the ingredients and it will help create a recipe for you. And then $5 dinners is literally, putting together menus that are $5 at the most. That's a killer option. All right, so you don't know how to cook. All right, well then you need to build some experience here, folks. So there are a few options. First of all, the government's website, choosemyplate.gov, has some pretty awesome, simple, straightforward recipes. I've used those working with middle school kids. Also, the USDA has their own version of What's Cooking with different recipes. I like them because there is some variety in terms of a little more ethnic cuisine. Cooking Light is fantastic because it's a lower calorie but great variety of recipes. All recipes means all recipes, literally everything you can find is on there. In terms of budgeting, the Cooking Matters .org site is really great for supporting a person in developing budgets and following them. And then Iowa State has a link there also for supporting a person in their budgeting process and preparing foods. Now, you don't know how to cook, then you've come up with recipes. Anything you want to learn, go to YouTube. All right. You want to know how to make a frittata? Go to YouTube. You want to know how to make your own zucchini bread? Go to YouTube. You name it, everything's there. I'm not saying all the recipes are great, but I definitely will go there oftentimes just to get a feel for something I haven't done, explore different skills. Like in terms of crock pots, there's so many darn recipes out there that once I find a recipe I like, I go on YouTube and look up to see how people are executing it, and then I apply the knowledge. All right, keeping it simple really means just start with the basics, folks. And then as you get more proficient at your cooking process, you can add more quality products. But start simple with, you need a pan to boil, water, cook some small foods, oatmeal, whatever, and a fry pan. Nonstick always makes cleanup a heck of a lot easier, but keep in mind you need to use wood, silicone, or plastic with those because if you scratch them, you break the surface. And then that starts to release toxins. Also, a multi-cooker, meaning a large pot with a insert, so that with a sieve insert, so that, for example, if you're cooking pasta, you can just lift them out, or potatoes, lift them out, and all the water drains away. It makes life a lot easier. Spatulas, I recommend flexible ones that are made of silicone because they can typically go up to 500 degrees. They're less likely to burn, but that doesn't mean leave it lying in a hot fry pan unintended because it will at some point absorb the heat and be painful to pick up. When you have cutting boards, boy, you can go to places like IKEA and get ones for really great deals. I do encourage when you can to have multiples because one really should be designated for raw meats. For knives, a chef's knife is great for cutting big things like squashes. A medium-sized knife is great for maybe cutting meat off of a chicken or cutting a sandwich. And then the small paring knife is great for when you're preparing fruit. I swear by kitchen shears, everything except tomatoes can be prepared with kitchen shears. They rock. Well, okay, maybe not carrots. That's not a good idea. For measuring cup, I strongly encourage you to choose Pyrex because it's microwavable. You can heat up milk, water in the microwave, soup, whatever, your oatmeal. So it's great because it does quadruple duty on everything. Also, I recommend having microwavable containers, whether you opt for plastic as food storage or glass ones. The food storage that's plastic makes it a heck of a lot easier to carry around when you take places to school and work. But the glass ones obviously are sturdier and last longer. And then, of course, have your basics, obviously your utensils, paper towels for cleanup. Yes, quality does make a difference. The cheaper, thinner ones tend to fall apart a heck of a lot faster, which means you're using more, which costs more money in the end. Choosing a dish soap that you're happy with, and then sponges. If they start to get smelly, you can always throw them in a microwave for about a minute and heat them up, and that will kill the bacteria. Otherwise, if you're in a dorm room, then having a mini fridge really makes a world of difference. Rice cookers are absolutely the best. You can cook quinoa in them, rice in them, oatmeal in them, you name it. Having a hot plate, if you're in a room with no kitchen facilities, makes life much more enjoyable because then you can, whether you stir fry with a wok or you have a fry pan or a pot, whatever, it gives you much more possibility. And then, of course, a microwave for instant heating. Now, in terms of meal planning, the easiest thing, folks, is to create a schedule so that you identify what are you going to eat for the week. It's almost like picking out your clothes for the whole week. Keep it simple. What are your fruits for the week? Berries today, cantaloupe tomorrow, berries the next day. Cantaloupe again, then I'm going to switch over maybe to oranges and banana and orange again. For lunch, maybe it's going to be sandwiches or soups, salads, whatever that is that looks for you. Writing it down helps you envision your variety, what you're going to be choosing, and making sure that you have all the nutrients your body needs. So here's an example of meal planning. The reason I have the arrows in there, folks, for example, under Sunday at dinner time, I have the meatloaf with an arrow going to the spaghetti. Why? Because if you get bored of your foods, you can take that meatloaf and either mash it up with a fork or a knife, chop it up, and then throw it in pasta sauce over some pasta, and it becomes spaghetti bolognese. Hey. When you make a big garden salad on Sunday, it will last about a good 3 days in the refrigerator, so then you don't have to make salad every single day. And by the way, garden salad or any type of salad with diced extra firm tofu, just dice it really small, like tiny little cheese cubes. It's a great way to add some protein and fiber without that is affordable and without excess saturated fat. All right, and then here's an example of a meal plan, but what I did is I color-coded it just to help you visualize balanced meals. So if you'll notice at breakfast, every single day has a piece of fruit that's red. The orange is the grain, the purple is the protein, and the blue is the dairy. So of course you orient things the way you find appropriate, but that's just to give you an example of how it is very easy to meet all your food groups throughout the day and across the week. All right, planning, folks, really means grocery shopping, knowing in advance what you're going to purchase, having a list so you don't forget things, which can interfere with your ability to execute. There are some things I recommend every kitchen have. If you recall, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, balsamic vinegar, and a variety of seasonings or spices to make foods taste better. Um, I recommend that everyone have a calcium source. You have to decide what's appropriate for you. Keeping grains on hand, but a variety so that you're not eating the same thing over and over again. And then, of course, thinking outside the box for varieties of protein. There are some basic veggies that are just always easy to cook with, but oh my gosh, there are so many, a myriad of possibilities. I mean, what did I not list there? Oh goodness, beets, kohlrabi, Swiss chard, collard greens, um, green beans. I mean, it's just, there's so much. It's absolutely wonderful. All right, when you're shopping, as I said, have your grocery list, know your prices. So you're not going to a grocery store and thinking, oh yeah, $3.99 for beans must be a good price, but then you go to another store and it turns out to be $1.99. So just be kind of prepared for those things. When you walk into conventional grocery stores with the long rows, be careful of the end caps. If you see like the Oreos, that's where they put the stuff that's processed, that's cheap, with bright colors, and they can do sales on them all the time because they cost, first of all, next to nothing to make. But they're big. They're kind of like cash cows for these companies, where they're able to sell a lot and make a lot of money off of them. And especially when they manipulate you. Oh my gosh, with things like buy three, get four more. Okay. Shopping by the perimeter of the grocery store, folks. The perimeter of the grocery store is where you're going to find all of your produce, your meat, your seafood, and your dairy. So your core quality foods are on the perimeter. The center is going to be what's referred to as the shelf-stable items that, with the exception of frozen, do not need refrigeration. And that's where these bright colors and myriad of possibilities go sideways. So be cautious when you go in there. It takes time. There's a lot of manipulation, especially in the bright colors. So you want to know what you're going to get. This is where you need to read the nutrition labels, to look at what are the ingredients, what is the quality of the food. Keeping in mind, in grocery stores, the products that are less nutritious have more attractive packaging, and that's to get your attention, to feed an idea to you about how you're going to feel if you purchase that product. Keep into consideration the placement of the food. Those companies that, for example, Oreos would be on a center shelf. They pay more money to be on that center shelf than they would if they were on the top or bottom shelves, which are less expensive, because they know most people have a certain angle, which is straightforward and slightly shifted down when they go shopping and look at foods. Take into consideration promotion, that when they're promoting things, they're doing so to obviously increase sales, and we want that in terms of produce, but be careful on the center aisles. And then the prices, folks. The whole purpose of sales is to encourage you to purchase more product, and the best way they tackle that is by doing things like, buy 10 for $10, or, buy two, get three free. You may never have intended to buy that many. My recommendation, go in on it with other people and then divide the price so that you guys get a better deal on it. All right, back to bulk buying. So the key is that with bulk buying, you don't have to buy everything, but you could buy some core things that are really shelf stable. So taking a look at peanut butter, for example, you get really big jars, but you know what? They don't go bad. They can stay on the shelf or in the refrigerator for quite a darn long while. And a serving of peanut butter then becomes only 20 cents. No one can tell me McDonald's is cheaper, all right? Not when peanut butter, which is highly nutritious, is 20 cents a serving. If you want to go a little more expensive, I found these Tasty Bite brand Madras lentils. Wonderfully nutritious, fantastically flavorful. There are 2 servings per pouch, which means you're paying 60 cents per serving or $1.20 per pouch. You could have those for lunch one day with some pita bread and some veggies and make an awesome meal. Canned chicken can be absolutely amazing. You can use it in soups, casseroles, on sandwiches, on salads, but just keep an eye on the ingredients label to check on the sodium count. Albacore tuna, highest in omega-3 fatty acid for all tuna. Again, 55 cents a serving. Be careful though, please. These are large cans, which means it's more servings in a can than necessary for one person. So you don't want to, when you open the can, you want to divide it up and eat it over a few days. Not all at once, please. And then thinking outside of the box in the freezer section, Costco has these giant bags of edamame that then break up into little individual bags. 95 cents for a protein, complete protein that's rich in fiber and phytonutrients. That's a big wow factor. Come on, 95 cents? Think about everything else you pay for when you're out and about for $1. Nothing compares. All right, in terms of grains, quinoa tends to be pricey, but if you were to go for a 15-pound bag for $30, you can always divide that up among different people. It will last forever in storage, no harm, no foul. Quinoa could be savory for dinner or it could be sweet for breakfast, whatever works best for you. Brown rice, this is a 12-pound bag for $10.69. Also, you could get really great deals if you go to Little Saigon, to different grocery stores there. I mean, I buy 20-pound bags for next to nothing. Now, on the other hand, if you opt to purchase things like these brown rice bowls that are already cooked, that are on the shelf, which I think is kind of gross sounding, but hey, there's only 6 of them, folks, and it costs $7.49. So obviously 6 for $7.49 versus 48 servings for $10.69. The deal is always going to be in buying the bulk. I know you're paying for the convenience here, I get it, but in my mind, it just doesn't make sense. All right, in terms of calcium sources, if you're not lactose intolerant, you want milk, but you have refrigeration challenges, then buying, the individual serving milks and keeping them in your room or in your cars is a great option. Yes, they break down to 90 cents each, whereas if you were to buy milk, let's say this is organic milk, if you were to buy a half gallon of organic milk, you'd be paying 50 cents a glass, but the catch is that one has to be refrigerated. So you are here paying for convenience, but we're also talking quality. If you're lactose intolerant, soy milk is brilliant. Nutritionally, it is equivalent pretty much to milk. The catch is, like cow's milk, it has to have vitamin D added, and it should also have calcium added. And then for those who like rice milk, same thing. Read the ingredients label, make sure it has calcium and vitamin D. The soy milk really, folks, is the best bang for your buck there. And again, these are all shelf-stable, aseptic packaging, so they do not have to be refrigerated until you are ready to drink them. All right, Costco also has things like their rotisserie chickens. They have kept these prices down for years. That's their commitment. I love it because you can eat the chicken as your entree, or you can go ahead and take the meat off and use it for a myriad of other menu options. I like to buy them and then I pull the meat off and throw it in the freezer, and then I've got cooked chicken meat ready for a meal when I need to prepare something pretty darn quick, whether 24-hour notice to defrost or pull it out and bake it. Buying really large boxes of greens like the spring mix and spinach are all excellent. My one piece of advice, if you purchase them, you really have about a week, so you might want to purchase them and split them up with other people. All right, oatmeal. Hey, I like oatmeal for cookies. But if you want oatmeal for breakfast, again, if you notice the difference between the pre-packaged oatmeal, which is a 6-pack for $9.99, it may not sound like a lot of money up front, but it is a great opportunity to financially cut corners and make your money last. if you compare that to the Coach's Oats for 4.5 pounds, or even better, the Quaker's Old Fashioned Oatmeal, nothing added to it, no flavors, no sweeteners, nothing. It's just oatmeal. $8.79 is an extraordinary deal. And I'd like to tell you to tell me how long 10 pounds would take to consume. But it's okay because it's shelf stable. You can put it into storage and it will stay there as long as it's sealed indefinitely. When you're choosing bulk buying, please make it a golden rule of thumb to always check and see, first of all, does the price point make sense? In this case, this is a great price, 52 little packets for $9.99. I mean, wow, what a deal. But you got to look at it. How much sugar is added to these? These packets are tiny. They're only 43 grams, and a quarter of it, 9 grams alone, is sugar that's been added. Well, in reality, that's not a great deal, folks. That's likened to being pretty much junk. Look at your labels and keep an eye. Is the protein count higher than fat? Because it should be, unless it's going to be a high-fat food like cheese. Is it a food item like bread that's rich in whole grains and dietary fiber, or is it made with refined flour? And always check and see, is there a generic version that would be more affordable? When planning your meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and your grocery shopping, always keep in mind about what you're choosing. Make the choices, folks. Be mindful. Be present to what you're choosing. Ask yourself, why do I need this? Is it something that I truly need for health, well-being, or is it something that I want, which is emotional eating? If you are shopping or about in life, ask yourself, when did I last eat? That's plugging into intuitive eating. Where are you on the hunger scale? Inquire as to how you're eating. Be present to your food, folks, because that's where we get the mindful eating and wiser choices in our foods. Where are you eating? At home, where you have control over the quality, or at restaurants where you may be caught up in the social environment and not paying attention to how much you're eating or what you're choosing? And who are you eating with? Who are you breaking bread with? Are you eating alone, or are you sharing with others? Okay, going forward, I encourage you to, no matter where you are, what you're doing, for what time of day it is, I encourage you to build meals that are bowls that are easy to eat, whether it be things like teriyaki bowls, teriyaki chicken and rice with vegetables, or it means salads with grains and protein, or you could have the protein on your salad and then have the grain on the side. Utilizing beans, especially soaking them overnight, is a fraction the cost of animal protein, rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber. Smoothies, folks. If you really are insistent on having a meal replacement, then I encourage you to make a smoothie and go back, look in your folder for the sports nutrition section. I have the recipe for making balanced smoothies. Utilizing tofu more often, it's really mild and it does adapt to other flavors. And then be creative. Sandwiches don't have to be on bread, which you can always buy and freeze, but think about things like tortillas or pita or lavash. You could do bagels and slice them even into 3 thinner or 4 thinner slices rather than 2 thick ones. There's a lot of different options, folks, to make food more exciting. So we said, planning ahead to save money, prepping so that you have food ready to go to save time, variety of foods, changing it up with your meal planning, and focusing, folks, on nutrient-dense foods for less calories. Okay, I have a few recipes for you. The salmon one is the recipe that is just a no-brainer, works really great. Sausage and lentil, little more ingredients, a little more prep here, but folks, I got to tell you, this is hands down, I think, one of the best recipes ever for a thermos. It just heats up beautifully. Chicken pot pie, so I said like having leftover rotisserie chicken, throw it in the freezer. It can always become that really quick pot pie. I mean, I'm not kidding. I think I throw this thing together in 15 minutes and then I bake it for half hour, 45 minutes. Lasagna casserole. Uh, just be careful when you make this. You end up with a lot of food. So if you have a lot of people, great. If not, then be prepared to freeze some of it because it really, yeah, wow, it's a lot. Doesn't seem like it, but it is. Spaghetti squash is great if you're looking to venture out and experiment with more vegetarian food. You can make it vegan by opting to use diet cheese rather than the mozzarella. Southwestern salads I really like because this is where if you have leftover chicken or you have leftover beef or leftover eggs, you can always turn them into a new salad the next day. Completely different direction from the original meal. And as I mentioned earlier, the quinoa can make a really awesome sweet breakfast with fruits. Okay, let's watch one more video that is just the challenges we have with science or the media always changing the ground rules to nutrition. Whatever it is, folks, my request going forward, think before you follow. Do you know what I mean? It's like really question things. First of all, if the food has been around for thousands of years, then you know what? It's pretty much good to go. But if it's anything that is more recent, then no. There's a food fad waiting to happen.
Oh, you're terrible!
Wait! Stop! Don't eat that food!
Who are you? What are you doing in our house?
I'm from the future. I'm here to warn you, don't eat that food.
Why not?
The eggs, they're full of cholesterol.
What?
Cholesterol, it clogs up your arteries. Eating even just one egg can dramatically increase your chance of heart attack. Don't eat eggs.
Oh my god, thank you.
You're welcome. Godspeed.
Well, I guess I better take those eggs.
Wait! Stop!
You're back!
Yeah, you were wrong about the eggs.
How?
It turns out there's two types of cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs actually have both. So you can eat eggs, but just don't eat the egg yolks. So stick with the egg whites.
Yes, thank you.
Godspeed. Wait! We were wrong about the eggs.
Again?
Yeah, okay, so it turns out that the amount of cholesterol in a food doesn't actually affect how much cholesterol ends up in your blood. The eggs are probably fine. In fact, we sort of don't even know what cholesterol is. But the steak! You can't eat the steak!
Why not?
Turns out that red meat increases your chance of heart attack. You have to cut out red meat. So no steak!
Thank you.
Godspeed.
What? No steak, mister?
Wait! We were wrong about the steak. It's the toast. Man was not meant to eat bread.
What do you mean man was not meant to eat bread?
Well, if you think about it, human beings should really only be eating what our Paleolithic ancestors ate. So, therefore, no bread, no toast.
How do you know what our Paleolithic ancestors ate?
Well, we just have to guess, right? I mean, we don't have any way of knowing. Okay, went back to the Paleolithic. They are not doing well. I don't know what we were thinking.
If anything, we should all be eating a lot more bread. Jeez. So I guess just ignore everything I've said and exercise.
Exercise, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys could probably use it. You've been just sitting here for the last 35 years.
It's been 5 minutes.
Right. Time travel. All right, well, Godspeed. Turns out it's genetic. Doesn't matter whether you exercise or what you eat. I'm sorry I ruined your meal.
I need 10 minutes.
Do you want some eggs?
I love some.
Okay, yeah, that's my humor for everything that I have to contend with on the internet, the news, and all the fads that are out there. Okay, go for it, folks. Make choices, be mindful, be present to what you're doing, and you'll be amazing.